What is going on, Muttcast family? I'm your host, S. Gibbs. This is Mr. Jake Stein. You know this guy right here. He needs no introduction. That's Mr. Rex Dixon. And this right here, RG Madden. We are live. Today, you guys are excited to hear all about the patch. Rex, there was 100 people in here prior to the start of the show.
Okay.
And everyone was writing patch. And all they want to know is about the patch.
Yeah.
We're going to get into some of those patch questions. But before we dive directly into it, we got to talk about a new item that came out this week. A Calvin Johnson 48-hour this past weekend. He's on the block right now. He's a 99 overall wide receiver. Xbox One, he's going for $4 million. On PS4, he's going for $4.3 million. That's probably because he's the 48-hour version. The Goo would tell us all his mathematics, his equations that he gets for that price. But we have a speed of 97 overall, jump of 100 overall, route running 97, catching traffic 97, and spectacular catch 100.
How does that make you feel, Rex?
I mean, I don't know what else to say about these cards. Clearly, you're contributing to the problem. You're not helping solve it, guys.
Yeah. This is a nice item. Obviously, the price is ridiculous, but we'll start with you, RG. You could be the first guy this week, but that's an item that's a must-have almost.
Yeah,
if you see that.
The price is ridiculous, but the stats are geeked out of their minds. I mean, my boy, I think it's Hitstick Mutt, sent me another highlight video of him getting nasty with the Calvin, and yeah, it pretty much just does whatever it wants out there. OP.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that gets me is everyone this year has been kind of along the lines of like, oh, jump doesn't matter or height doesn't matter. And
It does.
I think it does, and we have the guys that tell us when you're 6'5" and you have 100 jump, that actually matters to the way you're out there playing. Anything you can share about that, Rex?
Yeah, both jump and spec catch rating are huge factors in determining aggressive catch outcomes. So there it is.
There it is. You guys heard it first. This is why you tune in the Muttcast. We ask the hard questions. Farles asks the hard questions. He's right there for you guys.
My question is, when can we get like a safety who has like 120 hit power and 110 jump to counter some of these guys? Where's that card?
Steve Atwater. Who else is out there? Sean Taylor. Hey, they got the hit power. They don't
They
have
need
the
more
jump, though.
zone. They need more zone.
Way more zone. Those guys
We
are
need
like
we need
86.
like a 95 zone.
Come on, guys.
Here's what he said. Rex needs to get a golden
Help
ticket.
Rex make it.
Rex needs.
What
a
if the community started a riot and we demanded
More
that
zone.
Rex gets a golden ticket and then he makes that defensive play that's 6'8"?
aggressive catch is not OP golden ticket?
Right, aggressive catch is
For
not
Rex
OP,
Dixon.
golden
I love
ticket.
it.
That
Let's
would
do
be.
it, Mutt guys. Mutt Guru, where are you? I want that golden ticket me.
We're gonna need Guru to make it happen because Guru can get riots going. But overall, Jake, have you been able to have the option to play with this, or would you play with this item here? Obviously,
It's a no-brainer, right? It's an absolute no-brainer. I have yet to play with it yet. He sounds beast, right? Like, I mean, who else are you gonna throw out there with him, right? I mean, like, he's probably trumping Odell, right?
this is probably a better item now than the Odell. I mean, it almost seems silly to even review it because at this point, these Ultimate Legends that come out for 48 hours, they're just so good. There's really no weakness any of them have. I guess you could be upset the fact that Calvin has 97 catching traffic and wish he had 100. But at that point, you're really like just pulling hairs, and it just this Calvin is the real deal. 4 million coins is probably a ridiculous amount for anyone to really go out and get. But hopefully his price can drop a little bit. That's where the Goo comes in. So ask the Goo on Twitter at MuttGuru about the price if you're expecting to see if it will actually fall.
I gotta talk about.
All right,
it.
yes.
I gotta talk about Mega.
Please,
because
talk
I've been all weekend. You guys are jabbing John and hearing you. Okay, so I think he is worth the price only because of the fact you can play your regular ball on 3 downs, and if that doesn't work, just check at the Mega, and it works like every freaking time.
No, that's the exact
I'm so
opposite.
sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't say that.
That's the exact
Contributing to the
opposite
problem.
of.
Bye.
That's the exact opposite, Goo.
I think he just revealed that Mutt Guru is a lob streaker.
He's a cheeser.
He is that guy.
He's a cheeser.
You don't go to the Goo for gameplay advice, right?
No, you don't. Well, listen, Goo's becoming a better player. He's becoming and Farles is back, but Goo has become a better player. He actually played Farles a couple weeks ago, and he almost beat him.
Almost beat him.
You almost lost.
Some little
Last
giant
play of the
stuff.
game.
One
We
time.
want to talk about this?
We got him one
We wanna talk
time.
about this?
Almost beat him. You lost to MJD, bro.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
Shots.
So
Charles, you want to pull up some rug and join us, man?
I'm good.
All right.
I'm good.
See?
I'm just gonna lurk.
let's get into the next item,
Real
guys.
quick, Gibbs,
yeah.
I will say what you were asking about his height and his jump. One thing that does allow him to do seriously is he has like a larger window now of like, say it's an inaccurate throw or it's a high pass. Say you're throwing a high pass and it gets inaccurate. There's going to be some of those that he's actually able to go up and catch because he has that wider range of, wingspan or whatnot. So he's actually able to, say everybody had the same stats, but his 6'5" frame would allow him to potentially make a play that a 6'2" guy wouldn't be able to make. And so that's huge to me because you never know when you're going to get an inaccurate pass, and having a guy like Calvin will make up for that.
Hashtag I'm just saying. You heard that from RG right there. You get that bigger catch window with a 6'5" guy. That great jump, the 100 jump. So these guys are important to have. So we've said before in the past, 6'1" Hines Ward, like maybe he's not as good, because of that height factor. So you hear right there, it is something that's actually important, especially when you're going to throw downfield for those big opportunities, one-on-one situations. We have 2 more items that we're going to review, then we'll get into the patch stuff.
I'm sure they're fine with waiting.
Oh, they are dying to know. They're
Patient group?
They're not patient. The opposite of patient. That's what they are. So let's get into the next item. This is, again, another 48-hour Ultimate Legend, Terrell Suggs, 99 overall. And he came out this past weekend. He's going for Xbox One, 1.1 million coins. PlayStation 4, 1.2 million coins. His speed is 90 overall. His strength is 97. His power move is 95. Or his power move is 100. His hit power is 95. And his block shed's 96. Now, this show is titled Finding Value in Ultimate Legends. And we're going to talk about how each of these Ultimate Legends each week, you actually can find a super value item every single week hidden in these Ultimate Legends, the speed editions, power editions, and then the strength editions. So make sure you hang in there for a couple minutes as we get into that after we review Suggs. But Jake, what do you see here?
I see an absolute dominant force on the outside. Stop the run. He's got the strength. He's got the block shed, and then he can obviously rush the passer, get him up to 90 speed. I mean, this guy's going to be right there in the conversation with Vaughn, I would imagine, right?
Yeah, he's got the 90 speed. Doesn't have 95 that the Vaughn has, but he brings that element of the 100 strength. You match the power move, you get more block shed. I think 90 speed is more than enough than you would ever need for a defensive end type linebacker. So really, 90 speed. He could be 80 speed, and those stats would say, yes, I must play him. Farles is doing his best Skip Farless right now, and he's saying no. Why are you saying no?
Because he's not 800,000 coins better than Lawrence Taylor.
Amen.
That's
He
correct.
is a very, very
Right.
good ROLB.
What about
He has
Anthony
100
Barr?
Power move, 88 finesse. He's not a user. He's too slow. He is an excellent. He's an excellent right end to stop the run. Beautiful, great. But for
But
so
your
is
team,
LT,
LT's the
and-
He
man.
just stopped it.
He's
He's
better.
no LT. Just stop right there.
but he's not LT.
listen, Archie's been tripping on
LT's
for a
more
while.
I've been
balanced
sa-
rusher.
What I'm doing with, I run a 146, and the $146, it lets you put DNs and linebackers at all 3 linemen. So if I had my way, I would love this item and put on my D line those 3 rushers: the Vaughn Miller, the Lawrence Taylor, and this Terrell Suggs. If you could get those 3 on your line in the 146, that's pretty much like unstoppable. Now you have elite pass rushers and elite run stoppers everywhere. If anybody's able to do that, tweet me the photo because that's just nasty. Like,
Goop? Hey, Goop. Thank you.
But I feel like if you have those 3 on your line in a set like that, you're setting yourself up for insane success. So that's where I would want to use them to complement those 2 guys and take my line to like that real elite level.
So would you would put the Suggs at the nose, right?
I would put them at the nose because they let you do that.
Just
in
so everyone
that
knows, the reason you
formation.
can put the linebacker at the nose there is because it's a 146. Your outside guys are linebackers. When you use a package, you can get the linebacker. Technically, it's a DN there. So that's the reason why you can get Suggs in at the nose in the 146. Great little pro tip to use there. It's very beneficial because you can get a speedier guy there opposed to like a J.J. Watt.
Yeah.
It kind of gives you those same stats, but not the 90 speed.
Yeah, he stops the run as good as any D tackle with those ratings. So, and then he's an elite pass rusher. So you're just, I wouldn't want to deal with that.
You're getting
Those
props
3.
from Madden Daly in the chat. Madden Daly Pete, he's saying, yeah, that's exactly the way I would use Suggs. So
Nice. And
that's
he
a
knows
little.
what he's Lights knows what he's talking
Lights
about.
knows
so.
what's going on. Rex, you
Sir.
see anything here? I mean, you saw LT. Why are you saying he's not comparing with the LT?
LT is my glitchiest card of the year.
Glitch?
He's my MVP. He's an MVP.
Heads are gonna roll.
Let's go, Rex.
As people on Twitter know, I am a man who uses the D line, and I have no shame about doing so. And I wreak havoc in the backfield with Lawrence Taylor as the user, time and time again. He is the best card in MUT, in my opinion, right now, and I would never ever replace him with anybody.
Listen, that's a
Let's
strong
go,
statement.
dog.
You want takes?
What
Yeah.
happens if he?
Direct them.
What, are you still making that statement, stamping that if this guy drops to like 200K? Or are you gonna be like, I'll try him. I'll try Suggs.
Maybe he's my backup to LT.
Okay, all right, that's fair. Very fair.
200K, he's mine. All
So
day.
we'll obviously stamp of approval for both these guys. I think every Ultimate Legend that's going to be coming out is going to get that stamp of approval, especially the boss versions.
You need to hit up the goo and like get the goo-ness on the price and
Yeah.
all that. So
Absolutely.
that's like the thing to do.
So, Farles, I know you'll have some good insight here, so come on over. These Speed Edition, Ultimate Legends, the Strength Editions, yada yada yada, rookie versions. For a while, that even last year, you could find a lot of value. So, what I have recognized when it comes to these type players, and right now on the screen we're taking a look at 79 outside, right outside linebacker, Terrell Suggs, Strength Edition. On Xbox One, he's going for 56,000 coins. PlayStation 4, he's going for 45,000 coins. His speed is 72. His strength is 99. His hit power is 98. His power move is 98. And his block shed's 95. I have some ratings underneath each of those ratings. So for speed, he's 18 less speed than the boss version Terrell Suggs. He's 2 less strength than the boss Suggs. 5 less hit power. 2 less power move. And his block shed is +1 compared to the 48-hour Suggs. But he's going for 56K. You can find value every single week in these types of players. Why?
Of course.
That took
believe-
forever, by the way.
I think the rookies are not the guys you want to look for. I would say that for Jason Taylor, his strength version is a very, very good run-stopping D-end if available. The strength Calvin Johnson is an excellent run blocker. Very, very strong, big. He's not fast at all. The speed Calvin Johnson I would pass on. He's amazingly fast, but he doesn't really have anything else that you'd like. And there's faster guys to go in that role. But the Suggs is another guy. You could drop him down to defensive tackle or defensive end and hopefully stop the run with him. The speed, Jason Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
So if you compare him to Dwight Freeney that just came out, there's a 98 Dwight Freeney out there with amazing acceleration, amazing finesse move off the edge. You get a lot of the bang for the buck with the Jason Taylor Speed Edition as you do for the Dwight Freeney who just came out. So what you want to do is, for the specific role, they're one down players.
Yep.
They can't play every down, but for the one situation where you need them, you got to find those 3 key ratings,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's strength, block, shed, power move to stop the run, whether it's and rush the passer a little bit, whether it's finesse, excel for an outside pass rusher,
Yep.
whether it's strength, run block for a receiver who you want to block. You got to find those 3 ratings that they get jacked up and get them in your lineup just for one down because they're way
Way
less
cheap.
expensive.
And I mean, looking at this Suggs, a 79 overall, and he has those stats, makes him an absolute monster. This is almost a must play if you can go out and get those coins. And you're going to find that every single week you're going to find these like hidden style players with these Ultimate Legends. So be on the lookout for that. I think the most important part is to recognize that if you see a corner who becomes the Ultimate Legend, the speed version is most likely going to be that hidden gem. If you get a wide receiver, again, speed is probably going to be that hidden gem for you. Whereas if you got a tight end, it might be something like strength. RG, you see these ratings. Even though he's a 79 overall, he might have lower, say, like awareness, play rack, pursuit. But to be a goon on the D line and just be that goon and do the one goon thing you need him to do, he's gonna do it.
Yeah, the thing that's like, if he was a left end or a right end instead of an outside linebacker,
Yeah.
I'd be all in because then you could put him at DT. Like Mikey Sweats just talked me into getting Pork Chop, the '99 legend of Vince Wilfork. And he's nasty, but looking at this Suggs, he's almost got. He does a lot of the like same things that Pork Chop does, just as good. and he's just a lot cheaper. It just stinks that you can't get him at D tackle
Right.
whenever you want. So
Yep.
if this was like a left end, right end, I'd be all over it. But the fact that because I'd really want to get him at the D tackle, but the fact because at D tackle that speed's not like a huge deal.
Yeah.
But with him being an outside linebacker, that kind of scares me a little bit.
AKA, we need a J.J. Watt Ultimate Legend. Because then he'll have an end, move him to the end.
Exactly.
Yada, yada, yada. So that's where you're going to find those value items, guys. But now it's the time to transition into what everyone here, everyone in the chat's been harping on. Keep typing in patch, patch, patch. Rex, I know you have your handy-dandy notebook right
I
there.
do.
We have a couple questions that were queued up from the community. I want to start first with @soccerdude_9. This is really, I think, what most people are paying attention to. When
You
it
say
comes to
soccer
patch.
dude?
Yeah, he's at @soccerdude_9.
We're not answering a question from soccer dude.
@footballdude_9.
There you go. Let's go.
at football, yeah. He said, what blitzes are getting patched tomorrow, aka today?
All right. So let's get
He's got
into
the
it.
list. So-
Gentlemen.
Here it is.
This is probably the moment most of you have been waiting for. So let's give a little bit of overview, and then we'll talk about which defenses got the patch fix. So let's first talk high level about the why. So it's a little bit different for us now that we're kind of leaning into esports, and with the tournaments taking off and it's very visible. We had 15,000 watching the Twitch stream of the finals. And so producing a game that kind of looks like football and holds up is really important to us. And the problem with a lot of the A and B gap blitzes is that it actually breaks our offensive line logic, meaning like we have an offensive lineman standing out there in space playing patty cake while somebody's coming in the A gap. That's a bug. That's not acceptable from our perspective. So basically what this does is we changed the way the right guard initial move worked. The initial move is sort of the first steps he takes after the snap so that he better protects the B gap. What that means is that a lot of the heat will still get in off the edge, but they will always protect inside to outside first. So before we get into it, I just want to thank RG over here, Will Sykes upstairs, Brett Skipoff, our engineer on blocking, Wes Reinhardt, our engineering lead, and of course Clint Oldenburg, our blocking product owner. They were kind of moving on to the next thing and working on that, and I kind of took them and said, look guys, we got to fix this. I want the tournament play to not devolve into what we call a scrape fest, right? So with all that out of the way, let's get to it. The defenses that we believe are fixed in this patch: 4-3 over, strong slant 3. 4-6 bear under, linebacker dogs. 3-4 predator, strong safety scrape 3.
Bye-bye.
Nickel 2-4-5, double A gap. Nickel 3 overload. 3-4 even, Mike scrape 3. 4-3 under, cover 2.
Pretty good blitz.
3-4 under, strong safety scrape 3. Big nickel, strong zone blitz show 6. Nickel normal cover 2. And for my boy, I'm Stevie J, the dime flat.
Oh,
If your name was
dang.
not called, please proceed to the gym exit.
Thank you,
If
Hook
your
God.
name was not called, you're still good. Now, guys, there's still screamers out there. We know this. We had some of the community guys here last week. They tested some of their setups, and the ones that come with outside heat still kind of worked. So they're not gone out of the game. The second thing is I know people will get back in the lab and you will find new ones. This patch is not an elimination of the entire setup system. So those of you who are willing to put the lab time in, you will find new ones. I also wanted to take an opportunity today to thank the people who helped us track these down. Some of them willingly and voluntarily, some of them not so much. But when you post your screamers on YouTube and Twitter, we see it, and then we go and we try to fix it. So specifically, I want to call out Madden Daily, Madden Turf, the Good Game Movement, Bang a GGM, Problem Right and his crew, and MaddenXO.com. We went out and bought their ebooks, and it helped us. So I just asked the community, if you're into the ebook thing, I'm sure a lot of these guys are going to have new ebooks out post-patch. Please continue to support your community. I think the ebook thing is a good thing. It helps people get better at the game, helps some people in the community make a little bit of money on the side. So I'm not against it. So you guys who are prone to do that kind of thing, have fun in the lab for the next few days, and good luck with your new ebooks. So that's it on the nanos. Unless you have more questions, we can move on to other stuff in the patch.
I guess the question is, people saying, when is the patch? Like, the patch is out,
It's out.
Now,
correct?
10:30 this morning.
So people
Eastern.
can, how do they go get it?
Just go sign on. PS4 is a little tricky. I always just kind of hover over the Madden 16, click the options button, then go down to check for update. Boom. It's
Okay.
it.
So a couple other questions that have gone through the chat as you were talking, Rex. Has anything else been addressed, whether it's in the patch or is it specifically we're just targeting these blitzes and then kind of going from there?
Yeah, well, let's start off with the biggest one, and it had to do with a game freeze, a pause menu lockup, and I'll let Jake Stein talk about how we found that out and how we tracked it down.
Yep. So shout out to AJ for letting me come on here, kind of talk openly about this. I think this is a really cool avenue where we can talk to more like hardcore engaged users. So that this is really cool. Shout out to him for letting us do that. So right before our San Francisco week of the tournament, we had another Friday live stream, and it was my responsibility as a producer on that to have a build ready for those competitors to play. And we added in a couple things to that build. Nothing from a gameplay standpoint, but we added, very simple things. We added like the Madden Challenge logo on the field, right? Just nice little touch there. And then we made all the games be played in the championship DC Stadium. So anytime we make a change to the build, we throw it over to QA and make sure that, even if it's the smallest change, we want to make sure that we didn't break anything. So it's over in QA. I'm kind of going about my day, checking email, and then all of a sudden I get an email from QA. It's like, hey, this testing's going really good, but we're hitting this thing where I can't call a play. I'm like, stop what you're doing. I'm coming to find you right now. We're going to talk about this.
Real quick?
Yep.
I know someone's asked the question, what the heck is QA? Real quick.
Quality assurance. I mean, these are the guys that we are, anytime somebody makes a change in our game, we are giving it over to them. They are the ones that, no matter how many engineers sign off on something and think that something is, good from a code standpoint, we need QA to go in there and actually bang on that build, make sure that nothing's broken, and that what you think you are addressing got addressed.
And those dudes grind.
In simple terms, they're game testers.
Yeah, they're grinders, man. They make the game what it is as long as everyone else here, but continue.
Yep. So we go over there, and we've heard about this in the community for so long, and this has always been a really tricky bug to chase down, right? Because it's something where, and for those that you don't know, it's where you can't call a play. You get the play call, and you're hitting your button. You lose all input, and the only thing you can do is pause. And once you pause, you have to dashboard to quit out. Like the game's just locks up on you, and it's really tricky for us because the game doesn't crash. Like if anytime there's a crash or something along that lines from a stability standpoint, like we get data on that. We see how many times that's happening, and we can sort of assess what to do from there, right? With this one, the game just sort of hung. There was no way for us to know exactly how many people were hitting this, but we saw so much conversation on social media that, hey, look, this is a thing, this is what's happening, this has to stop, right? And so it's probably been a 4-5 month process where we just constantly are always spending resources. Anytime we have a little extra bandwidth, let's go try and reproduce reproduce this. And again, going back to that esports build, we finally were able to reproduce it to sort of make a long story a little shorter. It's once they were able to reproduce it, we have our engineers take a look at it. We went and put in a fix. That esports build went from about a 30%, like every 5 of the 15 games that they played on, they hit it. Ever since we put the fix in, they didn't hit it anymore. Mm-hmm. So this is one of those things where we felt good enough, and Rex and everybody, shout out to these guys. I can't sit here and say that there's not going to be any more freezing or loss of input, right? We can't say that in good confidence, but what we can say is we fixed something that looked an awful lot like it on our side, right? And so now we're getting it out there. Let us know if you're still hitting it. We have more work to do, but what we're hoping is that now that the new Draft Champions season has rolled over, you're getting in there, you're playing some more competitive games. That should be a much better experience than it was in Season 1.
Absolutely. And one thing I want to share there is really, this was probably like Thanksgiving time, and there were multiple instances where Jake would come down here because he'd ask myself, Goo, AJ, and ask just what is the community saying, because they're literally working, trying to figure out what the problem was. This was, again, around Thanksgiving. It was like a Thursday, like 6 p.m. at night, and most people, 9 to 5, clock in, clock out. No, like they really were like those waking hours where they had extra time in their day, it was focused on how do we solve this problem, and part of it was just being able to get that example of like what actually was happening, and then you're able to find it and resulted in what you think is the fix.
We saw all kinds of videos. I mean, at one point we thought maybe that it was shoe clock related, because we
Yeah.
saw like 3 videos in a row that were doing that, and then we sort of were able to rule that out. It really was deflating, right? Like launching Draft Champions Ranked was such an awesome moment for us on the continuous development team. But then I go home and I see Farles' first game that he plays ends with this bug,
Right.
you know, and so it's, you know, you just wasted 40 minutes of your time, and that's not acceptable. So again, fingers crossed. We're hoping that that it's fixed.
Yep.
Let us know.
Yeah, that's all you guys can do. Is if you run into any of those issues, you know, you can always message myself. You can message guys like RG, even Rex says on Twitter, Jake's on Twitter, Farles, Goo, everyone involved. So you can message us, let us know.
Ready for the next round?
Yeah, I'm ready for
Alright.
the next round.
So, the next set of fixes I'll let RG talk about, since he was kind of instrumental in figuring these out. We actually didn't know about one of these until RG went to a tournament in Atlantic City and saw it happening live, and actually affected the outcome of that tournament. These issues have to do with the way the game handles clock management and penalties at the end of the half and at the end of the game. This is also the source of the block field goal glitch that some of you might be familiar with, where a guy comes across, stands in front of your field goal, blocks it, and then the defensive penalty, the half ends. So to talk about the solution for the field goal block glitch and clock management and the clock stopping on a sack, RG.
Yeah, so that's the first one, is that end of not getting an untimed down when you should is pretty ridiculous. What people were doing is sitting there, and if you're kicking the game-winning field goal with no time left, they would just sit off sides, block your kick, you'd accept the penalty, and the game would end, which is terrible. Any of you that did that, I hope you drop all your interceptions from now until forever.
Till eternity.
You get no block sheds, you force no fumbles, because that's what you deserve for being
God's
scum.
will.
We on our
Madden
end,
gods curse you.
yeah, may the Madden gods curse you. On our end, though, we can't let stuff like that happen. So it was actually an issue that we fixed in one patch, and it ended up breaking again later on, which shows you how scary touching the game this late in the cycle can be. But yeah, our engineers cracked down, and we got that fixed. So you should now get an untimed down. You know, when you try some scummery like that I'm not a fan of.
Scummery.
Yeah, and
scummery.
to build on the whole scummery thing, if you're one of those people who's doing the false start glitch where you do fake snap to just repeat penalties over and over and over to get your opponent to quit, we will find you and we will console ban you. If people are doing that to you, send us the video. We will go after them. I am not a fan of that behavior, and we will end it quickly.
Get him, Rex.
I got one more. Go ahead, RG.
Well, the last one was there was a bug, the one I saw in Atlantic City, and it was your quarterback would sometimes get sacked and the clock would randomly stop. This wasn't an easy one to figure out because it happened insanely randomly. We ended up figuring out what happened to it. One thing that really helped me figure it out was the community sending me videos of the issue. Guys like Farles, a couple other guys, shot me over videos, and that's always a huge help. I really appreciate when people go out of their way to really try to give like repro steps or an example of an issue rather than just saying like, your game sucks, it's broken, fix it. I mean, I feel your pain, but that doesn't really help the problem. So the people that did send me videos and were being very transparent with what they were seeing with that quarterback sack bug, huge help. And we figured out it was if the quarterback had kind of gotten sacked as he was trying to throw the ball away was what was causing it. And we got that in the hands of one of our engineers, and that's fixed. So it's pretty cool bug to get fixed. I'm happy we were able to track that one down. And shout out to the community for the help.
Bang.
Okay, next one. So this is an issue that some people have been tweeting to me, but I personally didn't have any experience with because I don't usually play the game on all Madden difficulty. But as I got into MUT this year, when people complain about overthrows and stuff, I just consider that part of our base pass accuracy system. But when I started, my team got good enough this year that I actually had to play through the all Madden solos in MUT. I realized that something else was going on. Like, I have 93 Dante Culpepper, and every third throw is sailing to the safety. And I if you've seen me play, I run slants and drags pretty much exclusively. That's my passing offense.
Slant cheeser.
Yeah, so getting that overthrow is pretty much a pick every time to me. So it was getting very frustrating. And I went in and asked the engineers, and like, hey, what's going on with pass accuracy on all Madden? And we looked under the hood, we realized there was actually an additional penalty that was being applied. Now, my philosophy as a game designer when it comes to skill levels is that you should make the AI better, but you should never make the user worse. And that's what this piece of code was doing. It was fundamentally making you have more inaccurate throws as a user-controlled quarterback on All Madden. That's not the direction I want to go with All Madden, so I had them take it out. So now there's no accuracy penalty just because you're playing on All Madden.
It feels more like All Pro.
Yes.
It's good.
So a lot less overthrows on All Madden.
Skimbo says thank you.
You're
Personally
welcome,
to you.
Skimbo.
Personally to you.
Shout out to Skimbo,
Skimbo
man.
in the
Challenge
house.
runner-up in the
Yeah,
house.
there you go.
Yeah, and then finally I want to touch on a couple things. There were some rumors about us nerfing C routes. That is false. It did not happen. We didn't touch it.
Did not happen.
There are some of you who want man to be toned down, or they want zones to work better, or deep blues to be recoded. None of that got touched, and I want to explain a little bit about why. The way Madden works, whenever you mess with coverage or try to tune or change something, when it comes to like either zone or man or break times or reaction times, it invariably has splash damage across a wide variety of systems and routes. You can't like encapsulate it. I'd say the equivalent for me is kind of like doing brain surgery. Like if you touch the wrong nerve, it sends ripple waves. All of a sudden, your patient has a stroke. They're disabled. They're drooling out the right side of their mouth, which is why we take coverage changes very seriously. We need a lot of time to make them and then make sure we didn't break things on the back end. And that involves a lot of testing against a lot of routes and a lot of different player rating combinations. So for those of you who are disappointed that zone or man didn't get tuned in this patch, apologies, but that's the reason why. I'm hoping that you'll find that the defensive fixes are enough of a change to affect competitive play that you won't necessarily need the coverage changes as well.
That's legit. That's I mean, that's a lot of stuff, guys, going into one patch. And can you? What's the actual date today, Rex? What? Oh, in February? Oh, it's February. It's February, and there's a patch out. That's interesting. What's up with you guys doing all these patches?
It's the big guy, man. Being a man of the people, dude. We've
Man
never
of the
had
people.
that in the past. I mean, it's great having a guy like Rex when you come in. I don't know if other games have a creative director that literally will come in and, you know, it stinks and it sounds like I'm kissing butt right now, but it's the truth. You literally have a guy that comes in and at the stand-ups will tell, like, all the engineering teams and our development directors and stuff, like, this is what the community's complaining about. Like, we can't just sit back and do nothing about it. And it's really refreshing to have a guy that's, you know, in his position have that kind of attitude and really have, you know, the people in mind first. And that's what he really does. And, you know, you got to credit him for it.
Everyone in the chat,
RG.
all 782 of you, let's get a type 1 in the chat if you'd like to virtually thank Rex and team and company QA, Jake, everyone involved. Let's get a virtual thank you to Rex and the team for a patch this late in the year. It helps make the game more enjoyable.
We got to
for everyone.
throw it back to. This is going to sound like I'm kissing ass now, but Andrew Wilson, our CEO, who's definitely not watching this.
Maybe he is.
When he took office, and I've been with EA for some 16-something years now, and when Andrew Wilson took office, his strategy, his platform was players first. And as developers and employees of EA, each of us has to do a little soul searching and figure out what that means to us. So to me, it meant sort of putting down those guards, going out in the community, knowing I was going to get some venom and some pushback and a lot of nasty behavior, but knowing that at the back end it'll be worth it to just hear your guys' voice. And that has changed a lot of things about the culture of this team, about the way we do business, about our commitment to our core consumers, and starting to see ourselves more as a year-long service that keeps putting out content throughout the year versus here's $60 product in August, see you next August, we're out. So that's all part of it. But a lot of this wouldn't have been possible without the community also embracing us. Guys like You Need Seattle Bum, Problem, welcoming developers into their chat stream, protecting us from people who are negative towards us or nasty, people engaging with us on Twitter, giving us feedback. It's a symbiotic relationship between the dev team and the community, and it wouldn't work only one way.
There it is. You hear it from Rex himself. Guys, we really appreciate all the time you guys put into caring about this game, the questions you put in, because that helps us obviously make the game better. The guys who actually do make the game better are the guys in front of you here. So round of applause for them. But now, guys, we got a couple other questions here, Rex, from the community.
Sure.
So one is coming from Black Phoenix, and he says, are there any offensive line AI improvements? And if so, Can you explain how they have improved?
Yeah, I think the main one there is the fundamental fix for the nanos. Or, sorry, not nanos, screamers, heaters, whatever you guys want to call them.
Nanos don't exist.
Nanos don't exist. The main thing is that the right guard, his initial move to protect the B gap has been changed, so that he will do a much better job of protecting inside to outside in terms of his priorities.
That's
it's
it.
both guards too. Like you could flip the
Yeah.
defense and
Awesome.
they'll react good. It's
Good.
not just-
I think that's exactly what he's looking for. Black Phoenix is a high level player as well, so this isn't just like him complaining. Like he goes out, finds ways to fix things, tinker, like play action to block things. So that's a high level question, high level answer for him as well. Question coming in from the Steve3811. He says, "What does awareness rating do for user controlled quarterbacks in Madden 16? Help settle a debate."
I knew it was coming. You know what we should do on the Muttcast? We should reveal like what each rating
Yes.
does each week. We'll just dug deep into a specific rating.
Hour long on
So,
Pursuit.
You would need like awareness would need like its own like
Yeah.
2 episode special because it just touches so many.
A lot of things.
I
So
don't
awareness
think
is one of those things that touches a lot of different aspects. But specific to quarterbacks in the pocket, it doesn't do anything for user-controlled quarterbacks. It is specifically tied to AI outcomes and decision making.
There it is. Listen, someone's going to have to go back, find that, record that, and share it with everybody to explain that because we just touched upon it. So that's good to know. Our last question comes from Kyle S. I have no idea how to say his Twitter handle, but he says, will we be getting custom personnel packages, i.e. power run packages, anytime soon? So it sounds like he wants more right stick packages for his offense and defense.
Define soon. I think
3-year plan?
That goes back to, so like let's see. There's actually like 4 features in that question right there. One of them would be being able to set your personnel by formation, which would also be tied to custom playbooks. Because if I'm setting by formation, then I'm building a custom playbooks, which is something we have, but we obviously need to do a lot more work to make it usable and functional for everybody. In terms of like a power run package, I think another thing we're missing is really player signatures and having the concept of a power back versus a non-power back and all the pieces that go with it. Like, a true blocking fullback, for example, if I want to run primarily out of I-form or something like that. So there's actually a lot of different pieces that would need to come together to answer your question in full. But yes, all that stuff is being discussed and planned for the short term.
Question on, you mentioned quarterback awareness. I've seen Clint tweet that before. But what about QB traits? Is that for another Muttcast? Because there's something that goes into all of that.
Yes, QB traits are relevant, even if you're user controlled.
So if you everyone's chirping 94 Mariota hard right now
Hard.
because he has low awareness, but now we've said that doesn't matter if you're user controlling him. There's still traits to factor in, so you still gotta test the items.
Well, you guys have played
Gotta
with them. What do
test
you
items.
think? What stands
the
out
difficult
about
part
Mariota?
thing with the Vic, well, usually its comparison right now is Vic to Mariota. The Vic, as RG said many times before, is he's a lefty. You really have to get comfortable using the lefty quarterback, and you have to change your scheme. So if you're running a gun bunch, you really should be running it flip to take advantage of his left. And also, like, the way people tend to send blitzes, it's going to change the way, like, you're going to have to roll out backwards. It just kind of changed everything you play. So that's where I think a lot of people like the Mariota instead, is because he's a righty. It's what they're accustomed to. Vic is you have to be able to harness Vic. Like, it's a power that not just everyone can use.
Yeah, I think with Mutt, and this might sound like a cop out, but regardless of what the ratings tell you or what they say, ultimately when a player feels right to you, right? And it's not the same
Definitely.
for everybody. It's how they fit into your scheme. So my advice to people who are still playing Mutt is and building their teams is don't focus so much on players' ratings. Watch streams and watch people play with certain players. Read up what people are saying about certain players, but test drive them yourself. Try them out and see if they work for you. That would be my advice.
Yeah, isn't there some quarterback that you love? You still use Dante? Is that
Still
true?
use Dante. I haven't changed it. I've had him for like 4 months.
Creative director guy can't even get a better quarterback than Dante. Goo?
He's getting
Go?
the job done for me.
Goo? Can you help him out?
You will never put
You
a
help him
Tom
out?
Brady quarterback on my team or any other Patriots player for that matter.
That's why he's messing up.
This Jets fan ain't having it.
What? Well, guys, appreciate you guys coming on, talking patch, talking notes, talking February, and it's still improving Madden NFL 16. So that's a big shout out to you guys, all the work you do. When you go back upstairs, tell everyone thanks again from the community as well. Really do that.
Shout out to 700 in the chat showing up for the Muckcast.
We had 800. This is a record
Nice
for the Muckcast. 11 a.m.
Record
800.
attendance for the
There
Muckcast.
it
Shout
is.
out community.
We brought your ugly mugs on, guys. That's good. No, that was awkward.
On here every week.
But anyways, guys, yeah, we're gonna bring back Goo. Are you available?
Yeah, man.
All right, Falls, you available?
Did you do draft champs thing?
Not yet. No.
They're dying for draft champs.
What was their question? I didn't see it.
Just talk about the rollover.
Oh, sure.
All right,
yeah,
let's do it.
yeah. Okay, sorry.
We
that's all.
out.
All right.
Thanks,
Rex,
everybody.
Thank you,
Thanks,
sir.
Rex. Thanks, Rex.
Let Jake,
Thanks,
Jake
Jake.
wants to talk about that.
All right,
Draft
Jake.
champs season 2 for the chat
Thank
there.
you.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't see that one.
No, it's all good.
Let's discuss.
Season 2.
Yeah.
Thursday rolled out. So we announced a few weeks ago that season 1 was coming to an end. Announced what the reward structure was going to look like. Wanted to give people an opportunity to come back in and try to get up to that next level, that next tier, and get some better rewards. So last Thursday, it rolled over, and it's not just a simple it's now season 2 now. It's got some updates in it, right? So one of the big things that we did was, this was our first season doing it and kind of collecting data. And when we went back and took a look at it, what we saw was people were they weren't progressing enough. Like the bulk of our players playing DC maybe barely made it out of bronze, and they were playing enough games. They should have been progressing. We just had some things going on in the background in terms of how the points are divvied out and all that good stuff. It wasn't right? So we went in there, we made some tweaks so that the tiers are going to be different now. So it's been out since last Thursday, so I'm sure there's been people in the chat who have already gotten played. Progression should feel different, so let me know if you feel that's for the better or for the worse. The other thing too was when we did the rollover, we also kind of converted with where you were at and sort of like try to appropriately place you with where you are in the new season, right? So not everybody went back to bronze 0 and had to grind all the way back up. So some of like the upper echelon type of guys, they probably got ranked back to gold 0, I believe, was like the ceiling for how far you could, how high you could be when the season rolled over. I know for myself, I was a bronze 3, and when the rollover happened, I went to silver 0. So it just really kind of depended on like where you should have been ranked when that rollover happened. And then for people who haven't played 5 games yet, there's now a concept of placement matches. So you'll get in there, you'll play 5 placement matches. When you come out of there, again, we will rank you appropriately, and this all just kind of drives to better matchmaking, which is what we want. We want more competitive games. We want that to be a better experience. So we're hoping that helps out.
Absolutely, that's great. And just for anyone that might be asking, how do they get the Draft Champions 2? It should just ping them up, right, when they log on.
Yeah. If when we did the rollover on Thursday, for anybody who signed in since then, there's a big full screen pop up that says Season 2 now starts. Links you right into Draft Champions. Again, when you go in there, it will prompt you and tell you, hey, go to MUT to claim your rewards. But then also, if you want to just stay in DC and start up Season 2, get back into rank mode, and the commish, he's announced, it's a little vague right now, but
Yep.
we've announced another online tournament for
Ruh-roh.
Season 2.
Ruh-roh.
So more details to come. I was actually in a meeting with the commish this morning. We'll hope to have some dates and some details for everybody here sooner than later, because I know that's
These guys like tournaments?
Oh, they do?
Wait, what?
Yeah.
I've heard that.
That's
Rumor on the
interesting-
street.
It's an interesting concept.
Is the draft the same? It's still.
So we've done some tinkering with the draft. When you get in there, you'll probably notice your base team's going to look a little different now, and it should sort of reflect with where we're at in the MUT season right now, right?
Oh, you
so
guys updated the base team?
base team
Wow.
got an update.
You guys didn't want that, did you?
No.
That was a big community ask. By the way, my one in the chat for these guys. Big thank you.
Upside down.
Sorry.
That's how it really feels.
That's how it really feels.
Yeah.
Upside down.
Well, if I would have just drawn the actual, just a 1, I would have been in
Nice.
trouble. But just these guys have been working hard late into the season. Like Gibbs was talking about. I mean, we're in February here, so and these are patches and updates that, they don't. I'll just say it. They don't have to do, but we're listening to the community. We're involved in the community. Jake's
Definitely not
out there.
planned.
Exactly right.
Definitely not
so-
like planned. Definitely not like, oh, we're gonna have 5 patches throughout the year. It's like based on like need.
No,
right?
I mean like Rex kind of alluded to between Andrew Wilson sort of setting the the example from the top down. Madden took this approach this year of having a continuous development model. So in years past, we've had when things have come up and hey, we need to patch this. It's sort of a everybody just sort of hops on it at once type of approach. Whereas this year we have a team that's really dedicated to not just fixing bugs, but producing features like Draft Champions Rank, Draft Champions Player Friend. And so that, to me, that's just been the difference maker and kind of allowed us to be this deep in the year and still be able to produce patches.
So Draft Champ Season 2, 3 keys. It's live now.
Yep.
We'll have more details, but there's been mentions that there's something going on. Whispers of tournaments
Rumors in the
online or
back
something like
alleys.
that. So stay up to date with us on the Buckcast for that. We'll get the commission down once it's official.
Yep.
And then there was some updates to base team. Then there's also improved matchmaking. Sounds like so.
Yep.
And not just the base team, the rounds in the draft too. I was talking with Addison, who's one of our guys who helps tune this.
Riker.
You're going to see more elites show up in these drafts now. So I think if you got an 81 OVR DC team, you were feeling pretty good. That was a pretty good draft. That's probably up a couple points at this point now with the items that you're going to find in the draft pool now. So
All
good
right.
stuff.
That is good stuff, guys. Jake, you want to stay with us and review if you got time? Review some of the last items. Here?
Let's do it.
We got
Please
14 minutes
do.
left if you want to partake.
If people are still sticking around, if I'm
They
not
are.
driving people away.
Oh
let's-
no, you're not driving anyone
let's
away.
do it.
So let's go over. We already talked about the strength sugs. Let's take a look at 97 overall cornerback Chris Harris Jr. Xbox One, 750,000 coins. For the first time ever, PlayStation 4 lower than Xbox One, 700,000 coins. Goo, I'm gonna need your thoughts on that when it gets to you. Speed for this Chris Harris 95, agility 98, acceleration 93, man coverage 99, zone coverage 97. Skip Farless.
I think his tackle's kind of low, but he has very good pursuit. He's generally known as a pretty good tackler. Of course, he has 99 man, but he's better than the Revis, who has 99 man because he's faster, 92 versus 95. I don't think he's as good as the new Ty Law, or he's right about the same area as that new Ty Law. I think Ty Law has agility and acceler flip, so
Yes.
you got to figure out which one you would enjoy. I did try the Chris Harris last night. Seemed to make some plays. I would still, if I had that many coins, here's the thing, the DRC is the man covered.
Right. So pony up, right?
God.
A little bit.
But
once
he's
you get to that
at
point.
least twice as much. Dion, I know, is also
You're halfway there,
considered that
though. If
level.
you're halfway there.
Yeah,
if
so-
you got Chris Harris coins.
So yeah, do you
Yeah,
you're in the market for Chris Harris, do you just go for DRC because he's 6'2", he's taller, he has more or he has, so. I
hard
like
not
this
to
Chris
win.
Harris. I'm gonna give him a stamp, but he's got to come down a little bit. If I can get him to 500, I
Go.
think he will get there.
Goo, why is his PS4 price cheaper? Usually
So-
PS4 is higher
When did you pull these numbers?
today.
Okay, so in the interests of our partners, partner companies, I will decline to answer because
Oh.
just I think there's been more collectibles out in the economy
Gotcha.
last night
Gotcha.
than the other side. So
For
put it
sure.
that way.
So
I'm
prices
thinking,
fluctuate.
I'm thinking more Patriot fans on PS4, and that's the reason.
Probably.
Hey, there you go,
That's
right?
the one. More Patriots fans of PS4.
That's where AJ's personally driving up the price of Chris Harris.
Yeah.
Just sniping them all out, flipping them over, making some coins over there.
AJ is just owning the market on Chris Harris Jr. 97 overall positional heroes.
True story.
But yeah, I think everyone kind of agrees that he's a good ball player. Price a little high, especially when you know if you're going to spend that many coins. And DRC exists, Deion Sanders exists. Those guys are much better, and you're going to be spending right around spend a little extra coins for those guys. So that's where you want the Harris to fall a little bit more. Maybe the 500 range is probably good for him.
For our iTunes listeners, get the Mudhead and check out this card art, or the auction house and check out this item art. Because big shout out to Pixel Pusher upstairs. The position heroes again looking just sparkly, looking great.
So Sparkle, my favorite items of the year.
Yeah.
Sparkle
The Sparkle
Sundays.
position heroes,
Sparkle
yeah.
Sundays. They want me to use the Sparkle Sunday hashtag. I've declined though.
Yeah.
So, just
Well, you're the one that controls the power. you set those hashtags.
Sparkle Sundays. Yeah, no.
So here's another interesting corner. As I said, corner, 98 overall cornerback, Honey Badger, Tyrone. Yeah, The Honey Badger. Xbox One, 975,000 coins. PlayStation 4, 1.3 million. His speed, 96. Agility is 97. Acceleration, 98. Man coverage, 95. Zone coverage, 97.
Yeah.
Farls.
So when the Harris came out, the Matthew basically came out at a similar time. So you've introduced, there's a lot of CBs on the market right now. So I like the Harris, I like the Matthew better. How I'm playing the Matthew is starting him at strong safety because in the Big Dime 146, the strong safety goes to the
he
fourth
goes in.
corner.
Yeah.
So now I have the Honey Badger with 90 plus hit power at corner. And pursuit, he's excellent tackler. I'm going to sub Dion and DRC out of the game anytime it's only a 2 CB set. Put in Night Train, put in Matthew, because I need better run support tackling.
Especially if you go to cover 2.
Yes. So Matthew's that guy to have there. He plays a strong safety. He drops to the 4. He's also got wicked high zone. He's better than Ed Reed, in my opinion. And that's a pretty reasonable price. I love this Matthew. And it's very cool that he's a CB, and he still has that balance. Shout out.
So it sounds like
Yeah, no
he's a
doubt.
little bit of a joker for you on your defense. You got a lot of places you can move him around, and when you're talking about bringing him down into that slot corner, that really matches what he did in college, hence the campus hero.
For real.
Yes, like you just touched on what I was going to say, and remember these stats and these ratings are based off of their collegiate career.
Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of people getting that confused out there, going, "Oh, what did Tebow ever do in the league to get a 99?" Guys, it's one of the best college
He won a
quarterbacks of
Heisman,
all time.
3 national
okay,
championships.
so yeah, I mean he did a little something, did a few things.
Kurt, fact check, 2 or 3 national titles.
Where's Kurt when
He
you
was a
need him?
freshman. Chris Leak really won the title, but he was on the squad.
So I'm hearing that this Honey Badger is now the best free safety in the game. I haven't tested it myself. He's got a bunch of really other good free safety items, from the Team of the Week item to the he just got an item not that long ago.
Yeah, superlative.
Superlative item. People were loving those. They say this is even a further upgrade at free safety. I have not had a chance to test him yet. I just know the Team of the Week when I ran him back there was all over the field. I'm making plays, just it seemed left or right, 55 yards across, and I would think this would be no different. So.
Jake, what are your thoughts on this Honey Badger?
Again, sort of what I was mentioning to for us, it feels like somebody you can just have a lot of options open up to you on defense when you get an item like this. So feels like an absolute must-have. How could you go any deeper than what Frawls broke down? I mean,
Yep.
if you stay in base, get him outside. If you want to get multiple, bring him inside. He's going to be all over the field making plays.
He's a scheme-specific style player. You need to put him in the best position to utilize his skills. There are better man coverage corners. There are better zone coverage corners. But if you utilize him in a way that you are using him at safety, but then when you drop down to like a more scheme-specific, to like stop the run from like a 4-3, 3-4 with only 2 corners, as Falls was saying, he now really goes, his value skyrockets because he's got the tackle ability, he's got the hit power. In combination with Night Train Lane, you also still don't lose the coverage. The example there is I was using Sean Taylor and Brian Dawkins at corner in those 4-3 sets, and while they bring the boom and they have good zone coverage, but they couldn't really. I could never play man, so it limited what I could do from those sets that I wanted to stop the run in. Where you have Honey Badger and Night Train Lane, you're not limited anymore because you can play those man, you can change things up. So that's a great way to use the Honey Badger. Up next, we have 2 more items to review in 7 minutes, so we got to be quick on these. But a nice little value item here, 92 overall, all rookie Stephon Diggs, Xbox One, 52,000 coins, PlayStation 4, 55,000 coins. He's going for 95 speed, 99 juke move, 96 route running, 93 spectacular catch, 88 catch in traffic.
Okay, so yeah, I like Diggs as a route runner only. He has no release, so you'd have to get him a free release, but you love to see the route running mixed with that speed. You know, the Cooper's still better and half the cost. This is a 20,000 coin item for route running only.
Mm-hmm.
But there's definitely some value there. I still think you can find better budget items. He has good elusiveness. Maybe he's a kick returner, but
99 juke move. Any value there? Like when you're really thinking about getting him in the open field, running him on drags, is he going to add value to the problem double juke? 99 juke move.
I'm over it.
All right, Skip Farless. Goo. I know you're going to find value in this.
50K is a lot.
He'll come down. Goo.
The value
Calm
I
down.
find in this item is that it now has the right image on the front. Okay, so
Looks a little less Asiata-ish today.
yeah, much less Asiata shit today. So that is the value that I find in this. The little value that I will tell you, actually great value that I'll tell you guys. A little Little foreshadowing here, possibly.
Ooh.
Keep your all rookies. Okay,
Keep
don't just discard these things and think that they're just pack trash or whatever. Okay, so that we may have something in store.
Boom. There it is. You heard it from the goo. Jake, any final thoughts on the digs?
That's not going to drop the price at all.
Not at all.
With
Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
So the price is going to
Sorry
go.
about that. Probably go up a little bit now. For those in the know. For those that tune into.
That's
the
why you
podcast.
watch the Mudcast, because now you're in the know. Now you're in the know. Last item to review.
Quick note on
Yeah?
rookies. You put Diggs on there. You did not put Amos. I have a confession
My
to
bad.
make. I reviewed the rookies
Mm-hmm.
on YouTube channel, Z-Files, whatever. I said Amos, good, not great. 93 speed, 89 zone, blah, blah, blah. There's 1,000 free safeties like that.
Yep.
The YouTube comments hung me dry. They said, Farles, you missed a big opportunity. You didn't click into his Mutthead item and review it further. Free safety, I think he has 87 block shed and 90 plus tackle for a free safety. So he's a budget item. He is pretty solid at cover, but if you need a guy to play the run
Got
and you're struggling to stop the run, that Amos is your guy. And I appreciate the YouTube comments letting me know.
4 minutes. Darren McFadden, 97 overall halfback. He's going for 900,000 Xbox One, PS4 930K, speed 97, elusiveness 95, spin move 94, juke move 97, carry 95. This Darren McFadden, his agility is like 94, so he doesn't have that bugaboo that Darren McFaddens typically have when it comes to Ultimate Team. This is one of the best halfbacks in the game.
Yeah, they made him 6'1" instead of 6'2", but he's pretty fast. 97 speed. He's got good strength, good truck for what he does. He actually did run that combine time, so he's earned his speed over the years. Am I going to replace Barry? I'm considering it. 'Cause
78
Barry's
route running.
Frustrating me. He's obviously not third down back. If you have
78
Bo,
round running is pretty good.
it's good.
He's better than Bo.
It's good. I can't comment because I haven't used them.
Mhm.
For Mill, I think he can do better. I
Goop?
think you can use a scheme. I take the Charles over the McFadden.
Good.
His last name's McFadden. Seal of approval. Done.
Sold.
Done.
Jake?
I mean, on my timeline, this is the item that I saw people really kind of blowing up about. This was the one that people wanted to get their hands on, and we're having those tough conversations of, do I go Barry? Do I test out the new McFadden? Legit item.
It's a legit item.
It's
M-Stack in the chat is saying he needs this item. This is a
Mr.
guy he
McFadden.
needs. Obviously a great item. We have a couple questions that we wanted to run through quick. Ryu on Twitter, he says, just caught the Mudcasters from last week. Great show. My question, why no love for positional hero Delaney Walker as best run block tight end plus 91 speed? This is actually a question Falls and I were debating last week after Twin. Like, we spent 15 minutes talking about it. Why the positional hero, we weren't so high on him. He's one of the best tight ends in the game when you compare him to tight ends. And you look at a guy like Martellus Bennett, they're both like 1A, 1B. The reason we're saying that we don't love the value that Delaney Walker brings to the table is right now you can sub in wide receivers in at tight end. So because of that, you can get a better receiver type player at tight end, but still kind of maintain some blocking if you go look at a guy like Hines Ward. Or you can play the cat and mouse game of I'm going to put a receiver in on receiving downs. I'm going to put in a blocker on blocking downs, like a Donald Penn out of position, right?
Right.
So then that's where you get the value. That's where we're saying we don't look at the Delaney Walker and say he's an absolute stud. If you could only put tight ends there, he now instantly becomes one of the best tight ends in the game, a must-have.
He's really, really good. Bennett's a little bit better. He's taller, a little stronger.
6'6", man,
And
hard to argue
so
with.
I love the speed on him, but he's there. I just got him in my lineup. He's my third tight end. I sub him in, but I didn't. It's tough to find a use. You got to find that exact role for him if you're gonna pony up.
All right, we'll get to the next questions next week. Unfortunately, the show has to end now.
Oh man.
We got a meeting every day, every Tuesday at noon, so that makes it difficult to run the Mudcast past noon. But guys, we appreciate you tuning in. You can catch us on iTunes. The show will be available on iTunes sometime tonight. We'll look out for a tweet from myself, Goo, or the Mutt Twitter.
Shout out to Marcus for showing up for the meeting. Yeah,
Boom.
After the Mudcast.
There it is.
And we need 5-star reviews so our bosses will let us do this.
Yeah, can you give us some 5-star reviews on iTunes so our bosses let us keep doing this, and so that people don't get upset at us when we do the show every day on Tuesdays at 11 a.m.
I did.
Good gave you a shout out, kind of a troll. He kind of
Just
gave
a little
he
troll.
kind of trolled
Tad
you.
of troll.
But anyways, 5-star reviews, guys. It will really help us on iTunes. Seriously. Because people are probably sick of us yelling on
Tim
Tuesdays.
Tebow, two-time national
But
champion?
we'll see you guys next week
Get us
for
a studio.
Muttcast. Yeah,
Let's go.
we're working on that studio, working on a lot of different things.
One-time Heisman
We appreciate you guys tuning in. Follow the channel, like us on iTunes, give us those reviews.
We'll even bring the brown couch if you want.
We'll bring the brown
We will.
couch.
We really will.
AJ, we got anything to say?
We might bring AJ.
AJ?
I'm just so happy that people can't A-gap me anymore online.
AJ has already played 10 games.
Suck it.
Yeah.
Oh!
And
And that's how you
bats.
end the
And on that
Muttcast. See you next week, ladies and gentlemen. Peace.